Happy Friday, all you minties! This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an advanced look at the All-New Wolverine Omnibus from Marvel Comics. Let's get started! Now, before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market on May 5th, and then a couple of weeks later in the book market. Now, what we're looking at here is the direct market cover. On your left-hand side is the standard edition cover. So the one on the left is drawn by Bengal, I believe, and then the one on the right here is drawn by Adam Kubert, and it shows her in her second outfit that she dons throughout this series. So let's take a look at this a little bit closer. You have all the creators down here. Little blurb here from Comic Vine. We need an Uncanny Omar blurb one day up there somewhere. Here is what the spine looks like. All-New Wolverine. You have Laura down there. And then all the creators. And then the back of the book here. There is a parental advisory. The book retails for $100. Now let's take a look at it under the dust jacket. Right, so we're looking at one of the covers here. This is a variant, I believe, by David Lopez. Oh, I love this. This is awesome. Yes. And then this is a variant by Lionel Francis Yu, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to talk a little bit about this book. I'm not, when I do these overviews, I try not to give any spoilers, but I do have to talk about just a little bit of her past, and I might spoil a little something, so just in case. Now, this character, I just thought about this. She's almost 20 years old. So let me say that again. This character is almost 2 decades old. I still think of 20 years ago as 1980. That's crazy. So let's get this book opened. All right. So we have some yellow bookend pages. Nice. There is a picture of Laura with her first costume and all the creators behind this book. Of course, the main one being Tom Taylor, who was the head writer of this particular series. David Lopez drawing the first arc. Iguara, that's one of my favorite artists, and Juan Cabal. There's also Leonard Kirk who comes in for an arc. So you have all this talent in here. You have variant covers, and then the variant covers are collected throughout the book. So sometimes they're on the opposite page of the standard cover. So what's come before this? What's going on? Because this is a character that has such an interesting backstory, because she started out as a character in the cartoon. So she started out in the cartoon called X-Men Evolution, and then Marvel decided to bring her over into the comics with a miniseries called NYX. Now, NYX is a lot different than any of the other books she appears in, and she was known at the time as X-23, a clone of Wolverine. Now, remember when I said I was going to talk a little bit about spoilers? Now, I have to mention a couple of things as to why she is known as All-New Wolverine here. So eventually from NYX, she went over to Uncanny X-Men, and then from Uncanny X-Men, she went over to X-Force. Eventually, she went to Avengers Academy. Was she Captain Universe for a while, if I'm not mistaken? And then she made it all the way into the pages of Uncanny X-Force. So she was a younger, like I said, clone of Wolverine. She was a killing machine. Now, the clone aspect, well, I'm not going to go heavy into spoilers, but that's been a little bit retcon, and you can find out exactly how through these pages. As a matter of fact, Tom Taylor does an amazing job of catching you up with everything going on in Laura's life. So here, through these flashbacks right here of her days in Uncanny X-Force, she's hanging out with Wolverine, and they kind of change her path in a way. Remember when I said she was like a younger version of Wolverine, a killing machine, an assassin? Well, she's kind of put that aside, and that's the spoiler really that I wanted to give. There is another spoiler I'm going to talk about here in a second, and that goes back to the title. But that's right, she was part of the all-new X-Men team, so her and Angel had a thing, her and Cyclops had a thing. Weird. But anyway, here she is in her own stories. This is not a miniseries, because she's had several X-23 miniseries that explain her background. She was in the NYX miniseries. This is Laura's own ongoing series, and it is All-New Wolverine. Now, why is she All-New Wolverine? Spoilers, just in case. All right, all you brave souls that are still with me, Because during this time, Wolverine was dead. Our Logan from the 616 universe was believed to be dead. He was encased in adamantium, and, you know, all of us that have been reading comics for a long time were like, oh yeah, he'll come back one day. And then we had her. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, 100% honest. I was not a fan of Laura at all. I did not like her character. I'm not a fan of clones, much like my wife. She's not a fan of clones. But you know, I've been there, done that, is the way that I saw this character. And then, you know, Target, X-23, and all those sorts, they were fun. But still, you know, I prefer the original Wolverine. It was not until this series that I was like, man, I really like Laura. And I'm okay with her taking up the mantle of my favorite character of all time. That's how much this character grew on me through this series. And a lot of it has to do with the changes that Tom Taylor made. Because before, remember when I said that she was an assassin, she was a clone, there were some changes made, and I really liked it. She became more about family and loving, and gave her more of a character, because there for a while she couldn't even talk. So the entire premise of this first arc right here is introducing us to the concept that she wasn't the only clone, that there are 10 clones of her going around, and most of them have died either because their DNA had decomposed. But we're introduced to 3 more living clones. We have Gabby over here, Gabrielle, my favorite, and I'm sure everybody's favorite later on. Bellona, and then Zelda. Those are the other clones, and together they're going to try to take down this organization. Some of them make it, some of them don't. But that is basically the premise of the first arc. And then later on, Gabby becomes a bigger part of the book. And let's keep flipping through here because we have different artists we're going to see. Squirrel Girl delivers her a actual Wolverine, which they named Jonathan. And yes, Gabby ends up living with her. And it's adorable, their relationship. Gabby really looks up to her. And, you know, she doesn't see herself as a clone. She sees herself as more of a kid sister. And that's the way you see her. And I love that dynamic. You know, there's another Wolverine's son, another guy with claws, while going around during this time. And I was also not a fan of his. I was not a fan of Daniel Way's portrayal of his character, Decan. So Decan, the son of Wolverine, shows up in this, and I actually enjoy him in this. He's a lot more likable. So there's a lot of guest stars throughout this book, especially towards the beginning. You have Doctor Strange, you have, like I mentioned, Squirrel Girl, you have where their bodies get switched out with Spider-Gwen, you have Ironheart, Iron Man shows up later, you have S.H.I.E.L.D. showing up, and then you have other characters. So remember when I said that Wolverine was dead during this time? Well, after Secret Wars, this is when this takes place, we're introduced to this Old Man Logan. The Old Man Logan from the Mark Millar and Steve McNiven storyline comes into the 616 universe because he climbed a wall in this Secret Wars Battlefront miniseries. I wish I was kidding, but that's the premise of it. So he is now part of this Wolverine team for a little bit. He shows up as a guest star, but he has his own book. So that's really it. That's the premise of this book. Oh man, let me show you something awesome. Okay, so this is when Old Man Logan shows up and teams up with Gabby, who's a little badass herself, and Laura. There's this nice, yeah. That's awesome. Oh, I love it. I don't care how many times I've seen that picture. My turn. It always brings back memories. So that's what the story is basically about. It's about Laura taking on the mantle of Wolverine, and later on she gets another costume too, because the storyline changes a little bit, so she has to don a new costume. And Gabby herself ends up with a code name that's given to her by Decan, and it's the most adorable and perfect code name for her character, and I will let you find out what that is yourself. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I'm not going to flip through the end because the end of this book actually wraps up in a nice bookend storyline, and I don't want to ruin that for anybody, but it has it's a throwback to a classic Wolverine story. So this collects All-New Wolverine. So this is after Secret Wars. This is a 2015 series, 1 through 35, the annual number 1, and then the Generations Wolverine and All-New Wolverine from 2017, the one-shot. And I will actually, let me show you. I wanted to come back to this because this is the cover, and this is where she starts donning her new dark outfit. And then Gabby has her own little outfit. Adorable. Now, the Generations issue right here, it's a one-shot that the Marvel Universe was doing at the time with these legacy characters like Jane Foster Thor and the original Odin's son Thor have a team-up. Well, she has a team-up with Logan. And, of course, how does she do that? Because he's dead during this time. Well, you can find out for yourself, but I did want to showcase some of this artwork from this one-shot. And just showcasing some more of the artwork back here. Now, there are some characters that show up from her previous miniseries, but I think Tom Taylor does a really good job of reintroducing them, so you're not confused. So, I guess my point is, you could seriously read all of this and not be confused and be introduced to the character of Laura for the first time if you've not even watched the X-Men Evolution cartoon or have read NYX or seen her run in Uncanny X-Force or X-Men or Avengers Academy. I love pushing that book because it's freaking awesome. Now, let's look in the back here for some extras, because we do have some extras back here. Not all the variant covers are between chapters. Some of them are back here. That's an awesome cover. That's gorgeous from Ryan Sook. The book has 862 pages, and like I said, retails for $100. So we do have some variants back here. I forgot about these Zoom things. Oh, they were popular for a while. Ron Lim. Yes, if you've not read this, do yourself a favor. This is such a great book. And I know it was originally supposed to come out. Yeah, I was right. It was Bengal. So it was originally supposed to come out the last week of April, but it's been pushed back until May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. I would love to own. That's Leonard Kirk. I would love to own the original piece here. That is adorable. I love this freaking cover. Oh, man. That's okay. So that's probably a cover that I would love to have an original art piece of. And just some more of the other covers and variants back here. That's the Mary Jane variant. Believe me, this is not spoiling anything. It's just the way that she looked for the covers during the MJ month. There it is, the Leonard Kirk one, the one that you saw on the spine. Man, it's good to see Tom Taylor getting a lot of love recently. Like, he's been getting some, the Injustice Omnibus over at DC. He's getting a bunch of hardcovers at DC, and now we have all of his stuff collected in here. The only other thing I would love to see his name on in an oversized format at Marvel is the X-Men Red. But then, then we have to have X-Men Gold, and I know how some people feel about X-Men Gold and Blue Omnis, but hey, I would be all over that. And then you have to have Jean Grey, Iceman, and X-Men Black. Well, maybe not everything has to be collected, but, as a completist, I'd have to. And I've been going through my X-Men reading order recently, so all those come to mind. That's an awesome cover. And then that's the Generations variant right there by Olivier Copiel. And the art. Oh, yeah, that's right. Marcio Takara does the artwork for the Squirrel Girl issue, the one that introduces us to Jonathan. Here's some concept art for Gabby at first. And then I had to skip some pages that show the designs of the later issues. And here's the bookend pages. They're yellow again. Now, let's take a look at this binding. So the book is sewn binding, and here's what the eye looks like. Now, this is my copy, of course, but it looks like the ribbons have come unglued from the inner spine, at least on the bottom part. On the top, they're still attached. They're still glued to the inner spine. So that's something a little PVA glue will fix. It's just a little defect on my copy. I don't think all copies are going to be like that. But let's take a look at some of these spreads here. From issue number 1, laying over really nice, and really no gutter loss at all. And I really gave myself a challenge because all the good spread pages are in the last few issues, and I don't want to reveal what those issues are for anybody. So, just showcasing, I forgot Deadpool shows up in this, and he's quite adorable with Gabby and the way they interact with each other. I'm just a big fan of Gabby. So, let me see if I can find another spread pages here. Kind of cheating a little bit, but there's one up here at the top towards the back here without getting in heavily into spoilers, but yeah, very minimal gutter loss right there. But that, as they say, is that. When this book comes out, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for US customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you're picking this up, if you're a big fan of Laura, if you followed her adventures since the X-Men Evolution cartoon, what you thought of this series if you have read it. And yes, what other Tom Taylor Omnibus do you want to see? Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and on Redbubble, amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. Now, more importantly, everyone, please stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.